Welcome. I have something special for you, especially if you're a Ford or Mustang enthusiast. When I was in high school, some of the coolest cars to have were Mustangs. I graduated in '99, so back then I saw a lot of Fox body Mustangs at my high school. But today we're talking about this absolutely stunning 2014 Shelby GT500. One absolutely beautiful, amazing, high-performance Mustang. This one's in collector's condition, tad over 9,000 miles. This thing's an absolute beast. 5.8 liter supercharged V8 pumping out over 660 horsepower and about 630 pound-feet of torque. At the time, it was actually the most powerful V8 ever put into a production automobile. And this thing offers some giant killing performance. Top speed close to 200 miles per hour, 0 to 60 right around 4 seconds. I'm sure if you had grippier tires, you could probably get that 0 to 60 a lot higher. There's only so much power you can put down to those two poor rear tires. So this one had an original MSRP of $68,085, but that was in 2014. We're in 2023. We've had a lot of inflation, so if you probably adjust this to today's dollars, it's probably closer to $80,000-$90,000. And this one has some optional equipment on it. This lovely shade of ruby red metallic was a $395 premium color. This one has the SVT track package, that was $3,000. Then we have the electronics package of navigation at $2,340. This has a Shelby man leather Recaro seats, $1,595, and the Shaker Pro audio system, $1,295, and the Shelby cover dealer installed accessory, $375. I don't know exactly what that is. The original window sticker is still in plastic. Obviously, we have this little form right here showing the production date and the production number of this GT500. And look at this. This shows the whole production of GT500, all the different combinations, possible combinations of the GT500 and how many they made. Pretty cool stuff. So if you're a Mustang collector, this is an awesome one to consider. And it does have a accident in the Carfax, but this is a one-owner vehicle. When the owner traded it in, he said that the damage happened in his driveway, so it probably had, someone ran into it, or maybe he popped the clutch too fast and bumped into something, so it was repaired perfectly. This thing is absolutely pristine. I don't think you'll have any reservations at all about the condition, and only 9,000 miles. All right, so let's do a little walk around, and then we'll get behind the wheel and take it for a spin around the block. These Recaro seats are very comfortable and supportive. They look absolutely beautiful. Has the snake insignia right there embroidered into the middle. We have leather, this Alcantara suede cloth material. I love the cue ball style shifter. Nice shifter, very easy to use. It's a short shifter, and the action's really nice. So we have a dual zone climate control, navigation system, nice leather wrapped steering wheel. And you have more of that suede cloth material as well. So you have suede and leather wrapped. And as I mentioned, 9,000 miles, 9,002 to be exact at the time I'm making this video. Let's get some ambient lighting as well. All the leather seats are in beautiful shape, as you can imagine. See the Recaro insignia right there. This thing's absolutely beautiful. I just have a soft spot in my heart for Mustangs. It's nostalgia is a big part of our lives, and the older we get, sometimes we get nostalgic about the younger days. So the older I get, I find myself to sometimes get nostalgic about some of the cool vehicles I used to dream about in high school and in college. Maybe I couldn't make that happen financially back then, and now maybe not me at this point with my little kids, but maybe you are at the point where you can kind of make those dreams, cars of yesterday, come alive today, and this might be a perfect one for you. Absolutely beast of engine, 5.8 liter supercharged V8. See the plaque of the person who made it, a little over 660 horsepower. This is an absolute beast. And this is not a vehicle for the faint of heart either. Like this snake right here, if this car does not tolerate stupidity, it does have a traction and I think a primitive stability control system. But if you don't behave, You don't watch it in this thing. With 660 horsepower, this thing can definitely turn around and bite you. Let's hop behind the wheel and take it for a spin. Okay, here we are behind the wheel of this 2014 Shelby GT500. 662 supercharged horsepower. All right, well, this is a car, if you're going to do some really high performance driving and push this car hard, you want to make sure that the roads are dry and it's relatively warm out and the tires aren't cold. Well, the road's a little bit wet, the tires are relatively cold, and it's not the warmest day in the world, so I'm not going to go too crazy. I have a mixed relationship with Mustangs. I had a newer GT350 Mustang I was driving, and I was doing a hard shift, like into third gear or whatever, at 60 miles an hour. And it basically did the death wobble on me. I thought I was gonna be on the 6 o'clock news as I spun out on the highway at 60 miles an hour. That wouldn't have been pretty. Luckily, I was able to recover it, also with the help of the stability control system. But I don't want to have a repeat of that incident. So kind of like, you know, Nicolas Cage, if you remember in Gone in 60 Seconds, he had a tumultuous relationship, a spotty relationship with Eleanor, the original GT350 Mustang. So I'm going to be very respectful of this one in this little test drive. But there's something about, you know, being behind the wheel of a Mustang, kind of like Mustangs, Camaros, Corvettes. They're all American icons. It really doesn't matter where you are. You can be in the city or the country. It just seems like everyone loves them. It's a car that everyone loves, kind of like Tom Hanks. I don't know anyone who hates Tom Hanks. They're just a hoot to drive. It's just, you know, I guess, you know, price is relative speaking, but if you look at the numbers this thing has, you know, 662 horsepower, 0 to 60, like a little over 4 seconds, top speed close to 200 miles per hour. You know, $50,000-$60,000 might not seem like a lot of money, you know, back when this thing was brand new. But back then, this was, you know, giving you the level of performance of very, very high performance exotic cars. And there's nothing like the joy of driving a car like this with a manual transmission. You know, it takes some skill to drive a car like this smoothly and safely. You know, and I embrace all cars. Like, I love Teslas. I was just driving a Tesla Model S Plaid with over 1,000 horsepower. There's something to be said about a vehicle like that. 1,000 electric horsepower, instant thrust. It's an absolute riot. It's an absolute hoot. But there's also something to be said about, you know, a vehicle like this with a big V8 engine, the whine of the supercharger, changing gears, a mechanical masterpiece. You know, obviously this is not as a practical, probably everyday driver as a Tesla Plaid with all-wheel drive and stuff, but this can give you a driving experience quite unlike any other modern vehicle. And who knows if Ford will ever make something like this in the future. Already the GT500 now, you can't even get with a manual anymore. And for me, it's not about how fast you go. It's also about how fun it is to drive, and there's nothing more fun than a manual. Let's see how this thing performs. Whoa! So I drive a lot of, you know, fast cars, luckily, in this business. You know, a lot of manual transmission. I was driving a C8 Corvette the other day, but this car, it's not easy to extract all the performance. I can feel it getting squiggly on me, not even giving it full throttle. I have to get used to this car a little bit before I think, you know, before I really open it up. Because I just feel like, you know, things can happen fast in this car. Even though this has traction control, I feel like this thing could definitely turn around and bite me if I don't respect it. And that's what we're going to try to do. Yeah, I couldn't imagine shutting the traction control system in any scenario on the road in this thing, even if it's 100 degrees out and dry. This thing has so much power. It's not easy to break those rear tires loose. Even 80-100 miles an hour, you have to be careful, because you can break those rear tires loose, and if you don't have this thing pointed perfectly straight, you could get one of those death wobbles like I did that, you know, the vehicle stability control system or you might not be able to recover from. These cars, especially some of these older cars, they're not as they're not as forgiving. They don't have the electric nannies like some of the more modern cars. So if you really don't respect it, they can make it a bad day. Oh, not a very good launch. Oh man. Yeah, I almost stalled it there. I consider myself pretty good to driving manuals. I need to get used to this clutch. It has a really heavy duty clutch, obviously, to handle all that power. And I'm still feeling like these tires really want to spool up. They're still pretty cold. See the tires, they want to spin there too. Yeah. This is probably one of the hardest cars I've driven to be able to put all that power down. It's got a lot of power, probably too much power. Well, it looks like we're starting to get into a little rush hour traffic, so unfortunately the fun in this GT500 is coming to an end all too soon. I drive a lot of cars, a lot of performance cars, so I don't consider myself like an amazing, you know, driver like on a racetrack, but I consider myself, you know, pretty good at, you know, getting behind the wheel and feeling fairly comfortable driving stuff. This is a car that needs a little bit more attention. You need to kind of get yourself acquainted with this vehicle and really kind of figure out its limits before you really start pushing this thing really hard. There's plenty of videos where I can, you know, hop in cars and, you know, and push them hard, you know, shift them at red line, things like that, give them full throttle. This is not the car. Like I said, you know, the conditions probably need to be a little bit more warmer and drier for you really to, you know, explore the upper performance levels of this thing. Maybe it needs, you know, stickier tires on it. But yeah, like, this is a vehicle you really need to get comfortable with and really know what you're doing before you start pushing this thing hard. I can tell you, because there's probably plenty of examples that have ended up in the ditch, if not worse, just from incompetent or overzealous drivers. Thanks so much for taking the time today to watch this video. Hopefully see you soon and have a wonderful day.